So this is a case that Dr. Chi has touched on already, but maybe I'll go into a little bit more detail about the patient's history. So essentially this was a 20-year-old lady with an unremarkable past medical and past surgical history who, and also a family history of paternal grandfather of abdominal cancer of a certain type and maternal grandfather with lung cancer, and 3 siblings who were healthy. And she presented in 2003 with an upper GI bleed and hemoglobin of 4.3 and endoscopy multifocal tumors within the stomach were identified. And the initial management, as you would expect, was a subtotal gastrectomy. Sorry, the date is incorrect, it should be 2003. Essentially, at pathology, we see multifocal GIST nodules. The largest was 7 centimeters. And mitotic rate was high at 16 per 50 high power field, mixed spindle and epithelioid histology type. And omentum and lymph nodes were sampled, which were both negative. On immunohistochemistry, we see CD117 positivity, confirming the GIST diagnosis. And molecular analysis at the time revealed that the tumor was negative for KIT and PDGFR alpha mutations. Staging imaging at the time revealed a 1.2 centimeter liver lesion, which was thought to be a cyst at that time. And after this surgery, the patient enrolled on a phase 2 study of adjuvant imatinib, 400 milligrams daily for a year. So continuing on, 5 years later, staging imaging revealed abnormal gastrohepatic lymph nodes, measuring approximately 4 centimeter, and mesenteric mass of 2.9 centimeter. And right hepatic lobe metastasis, maximum dimension was 2.4 centimeters. And at that time, an ultrasound-guided FNA of one of the lymph nodes was performed and confirmed recurrent GIST. And the patient then enrolled onto a clinical trial, phase 3 study of imatinib versus nilotinib, and they were randomized to imatinib. And they continued on this study for approximately 2 years, following which progression was identified, and they then switched to sunitinib therapy, complicated by, as we would expect, hypertension, hand-foot syndrome, mucositis. And at that point then, about a year later, they relocated to New York City and transferred to MSK, where the patient has been since cared for. And then further pathology review was performed at MSK at that time, confirming what we already knew, but did a little bit more evaluation from the molecular side of things. BRAF mutation status was negative, and then additional immunohistochemistry showed that there was loss of STH-B expression, and STH-A was preserved, so confirming an STH-deficient GIST. So continuing on, the patient then continues sunitinib, however, slow progression was observed. And then in November of 2012, they went on to have further surgery performed, involving a liver resection, partial transverse colectomy, and resection of peritoneal metastasis, all confirming GIST, quite extensive disease. And subsequently, this pathology was reviewed utilizing next-generation sequencing, MSK impact assay, and identified an STH-A exon 2 mutation. And then restaging imaging post-surgery confirmed residual disease, and the patient enrolled onto a clinical trial of an IGF-1R inhibitor, and was on that for about a year until we saw further slow progression of their disease. And at that time, this was January 2014, and the patient then enrolled on another clinical trial, which Dr. Chi has kindly spoken about in detail already, which was imatinib in combination with binimetinib. And this patient really has tolerated treatment exceptionally well. Side effects initially were inactive form rash and peripheral edema, both of which have been managed well, and with slight dose reduction in the MEK inhibitor, this has been well tolerated thereafter. And we saw an initial RECIST response, which I'll show you shortly. And however, in July of 2015, there was concern, although there was RECIST stabilization of disease on CT, MRI was concerning for slight progression. And the patient ultimately went on to have further surgery in November, so four months later. However, this was a failed attempt at debulking because intraoperatively more extensive disease was identified. However, biopsies were taken at the time from several sites. And so here we see the imaging from baseline on starting on the study on your left and then going on to where we are more recently. And you can also see so baseline, we see improvement, reduction in tumor size of minus 20%. And then at that time, shortly afterwards, there was this concern about progression when the surgical attempt was made and biopsies were taken. And we'll see here, in terms of baseline pathology, you can just see the, less than 5% necrosis in the liver lesion that was sampled, the SDHB loss of expression on IHC, and then the final panel on the left-hand side showing SDHA retained expression. And then the subsequent pathology slides are showing that the peritoneal disease that was biopsied in 2015 on the clinical trial shows peritoneal disease with 100% necrosis, so exceptional treatment effect. And in the liver metastasis, 70% necrosis, and the Ki-67 index in the liver lesion was less than 10%. So this was obviously, despite the initial worrying sign of the MRI, this was exceedingly reassuring, and the patient then went on to continue therapy. And of note, we did do whole exome sequencing analysis of both sets of tumor as well, which did identify further abnormalities on whole exome sequencing than what we saw on impact analysis. The initial impact, we revealed the SDHA mutation on the baseline sample, and on the subsequent sample we found that mutation again, but also a KDR mutation, and then whole exome sequencing identified some others. Maybe Ping, if you wanted, if there's anything you thought was important to highlight. And then case continues. Patient resumes therapy on the clinical trial and now remains on study over 5 years with recent stabilization of disease. Currently working, tolerating treatment very well, and hopefully will continue on study for a very, very long time to continue.
I will take questions on the first case study on this interesting single patient. If not, maybe we'll move to the next presentation.